Hey guys, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks. This time I'm playing in the Tier 9 French medium tank, the AMX-30 prototype. This has to be probably my favorite Tier 9 medium tank in the game. If you'll remember, this vehicle came out 6 months ago. I did a full tank preview on it, and I stand by what I said there, which was roughly that I thought this was, if it came into the game with its current stats, it would be incredible. And as we can see, I've been having some fantastic results in the last 100 or so games that I've played in this vehicle on the live server. It truly is just a fantastic all-rounder. It has everything. It's got 8 degrees of gun depression, which is okay. Not the best, not the worst. It's got 260mm of penetration on its standard APCR rounds. It fires 6 rounds a minute. Again, not the best, not the worst. But its mobility is lovely. This thing can go, it can shift, it can absolutely shift at about 65 kilometers an hour along most surfaces. Now, I got spotted going into this bush, so it might not be surprising that as I try to push forwards, we get blind fired by a dastardly IS-4 on the enemy team. A quick look and we can see, oh wow, we're playing against a very strong player in a tank that's higher tier than me, so we're going to have to watch out for that IS-4 later. And he probably would love to be dishing that 440 alpha damage from the IS-4's 122mm into my tank early on. Now there's 3 artillery on the enemy team, something I'm very worried about, so I get in behind the rock. But we get to finish off the T-54 lightweight on the enemy team. Great result there, slowly picking apart the scouting of the enemy team. And when there are 3 artillery as well, those scouts, those light tanks, are super important. Now because I was getting spotted going up on that ridge, it's quite likely that there is a light tank down in the bushes below. But we're not going to worry about him too much. And that's because my friends are pushing through the east. Now I wanted to come east here because I thought that I would have to try and provide vision on the enemy heavy tanks. I thought that this game would be won and lost on this eastern flank because the enemy had a huge amount more heavies than us, and some of them, like the IS-4, were very, very good players. However, the IS-4 is elected to not come over here and get shot by artillery, so I'm going to support my heavies who are playing very aggressively. This AMX-50B with his autoloader is charging in and making short work of this IS-7. But I make a terrible misplay here, and I actually shoot him in the back of his tank, causing him to get taken out by the IS-7. I'm really, really sorry to you. What's that player's name? I'm sorry, Lesney. That was my bad, buddy. I was trying to save you. So we put a shot now into the lower plate of the Type 4 Heavy. Remember, that thing has got 250mm of frontal armor, but it doesn't seem to be working very well against the artillery on our team, as he is reduced to 2% of his hit points just over 3 minutes into the game. Now the Type 4 Heavy takes a swing at the T-28, but it bounces. And now I'm going to show you the weak point on the Type 4 Heavy frontally. Now this is a very interesting engagement because what you're going to see him do is try and angle his lower plate. But when he angles his lower plate, he creates a weak point on the side. The cheeks between here and here are very thin when they're not angled. As we can see on the design of the tank at the front, his frontal armor is very thick. His cheeks are slightly weaker. And so when he angles his armor to try and increase the angling and effective armor of his frontal, he makes the side of his cheeks very weak indeed. So that is your ticket to pretty much taking out a Type 4 and Type 5 Heavy with ease. And because they're such a slow-moving target, it is a very easy shot to make in close quarters combat. So we've had a hit and miss game here so far. We got a good shot off on the T-54 lightweight to take him out. We secured a kill on the Type 4 Heavy there, but I still feel bad about doing that TK damage to the AMX-50B. I'm sorry, I was trying to save him. It happens. Let's try and make up for it by having a positive role in this game. And it's going to be a tricky one to win. Look at this. We've got a 34% chance to win statistically. That is rather ugly in a high-tier matchup. Let's not worry too much about our chance to win. Let's just think of it more optimistically. And that's something that you can do. A lot of people who use chance to win in XVM, you can let it affect you very negatively. You can either be positive or negative with your chance to win. You can look at it as an opportunity to have a high impact in the game. And when you come through it, maybe you're not going to win more times out of 10 than you're going to lose. but it's your chance to say, screw you, matchmaker, I can win this game. And so for me, the most satisfying rounds are those roughly between about 40% to, I'd say, about 55%, where I feel like it has to be my impact in the game to be able to come through in the victory. So that FE215B had about, gosh, he had about a third of his hit points left before he wasn't spotted there. The last time we saw him, he had 895 hit points. But when he's respotted after those 2 artillery shells that hit near his tank, he's got 94 hit points. So some good spotting there by me. It was a bit cheeky of me, I guess, to go over and take a shot at the FE215B, considering the amount of tanks that could be on this ridgeline and the amount of artillery that are likely to be skulking around the A1/2/3 area. But it kept him spotted a little longer, and we secured 356 damage into him. So, this game is very close right now. 6 kills apiece. We spot the IS-4. Now, in this position, which way do you think the IS-4 is facing? Honestly, when I first saw this, I thought, let me show you the outline. I thought that this was the back of the IS-4 here, and this was his side armor. And so when you see me aim, now, I aim where I thought is the back of his tank, and it wasn't! He wasn't facing away from me at all. He was facing directly towards me. And so in fact, I shot his side armor there. Big misplay by me, showing you that the outline can help, but if it's still concealed behind bushes, it's going to be tricky. Now disaster strikes now. Great shot there by the artillery. Very strong player in the 212A. He puts in a fantastic hit, doing 861 damage. The AMX 30 prototype may be fairly well-rounded, but its armor is slightly on the weak side, and if you do get hit by SPGs, it can be devastating. But probably not as devastating as if you were a Leopard prototype. The Leopard prototype has much larger, taller plates that are thinly armored on the side, and really, I would have thought that I would have been one shot there. I guess I was quite lucky that I actually survived that shell. It could have very easily done a little bit more, taking me out. Now the FE215B gets spotted, and a T-54E1 decides to go hero mode. He puts one shot into the 212A that just devastated my tank, and the 212 had already reloaded and finishes him off. Great play there, well defended by the 212A, making this game harder and harder. But the T-92 on my team finishes off the FE215B on the enemy team, and he puts us back into the competition for it. Now what I'm doing here is, as you can see, I'm completely by myself in this situation. I don't want to be overly aggressive. I guess I could rush in and go after that artillery and finish him off while he was reloading. But then what happens after that? There are 2 AMX 1390s, one who is here who would very easily get shots into the side of my tank, which is now just a one-shot to the enemy team, and also a 1390 that could be situating himself up here. Remember, your tank is still very dangerous, even if you have the tiny amount of hit points, like I do left. Especially when you've got artillery on your team, and even when you've got tank destroyers on your team, such as we have. We don't want to die right now. We want to keep our tank in, and there's no use being overly aggressive. In this kind of a situation, I can put myself in this bush. And what am I trying to achieve right now? Well, I can have fantastic vision over a large part of the map. If I zoom out here, I can probably give you a better idea. We can have view range stemming up to this ridge line here. Any enemies that try and make their way around here are going to get spotted. But more importantly, we also have a view range all the way across here. As soon as they reach this building and past it on the map, we're going to spot any of our opponents. And if this 212 tries to make a run away from me, we would have spotted him as well. Now, I think a lesser player might have done that. But the 212A on the enemy team is probably situated there, ready to shotgun somebody who he thinks is going to come around there to get him. And also, this is another reason why we're staying put in this bush. Look at that IS-4. He's skulking around in that position, thinking that I'm going to make a rush along the north. One of the big differences in these situations is people generally who have the most patience, at least when you've got 6 minutes left on the game, do the best. I mean, let's think, for example, all of the enemy tanks were spotted down here and they were pushing through. Fair enough. If the IS-4 and the T-62A and the AMX 1390 were all spotted here, I would immediately make my move. But that's not the case. I need to hold my position, and I need to distract that IS-4. I need to stop him from going down south and putting pressure on my team there by effectively being a threat to his artillery, but also to provide the view range out that we've talked about. Now there's some serious fighting going on down the south. My T-92 shuts down a very strong AMX 1390 on the enemy team, but the 212A, who is literally just situated a couple of 100 meters away from me over there, kills our Rheinmetall Borsig Waffenträger, which I feel a bit bad about. And this is where the artillery seems to get a little bit frustrated. You see him pinging the map persistently, telling me as if I don't know where the IS-4 is. He probably thinks that I'm a numpty. Yes, okay, I know there's an IS-4 there, Mr. Fat Chat. It's okay, buddy. He's only got, 1,657 left, and he could sneeze on me and I die. Now, don't let artillery harass you. But the IS-4 gets spotted down there. Okay, that's my chance to make a move. Let's go for this now. So, fair enough, I have to worry about the T-62, but there's only so much you can do. As soon as I saw that IS-4 take out the WT Alpha E-100, that's my trigger that I have to make the push now. We shut down the 212A, and now I make my... I suggest to the enemy team that I'm going to try and rush in along this A-line. Now I'm no longer spotted, I hard left. I dodged the artillery shell, and I don't want to go into the cap circle. If you go into the cap circle, you give away your position and you give away your intentions. So, I'm trying to give the enemy team an idea that I'm going along the A-line in towards their artillery. Instead, what I'm going to do is make my way towards this ridge line, where hopefully I can use some of the bushes to spot any of the artillery that might be a bit spooked, or hopefully spot the T-62A in a position here, or even the T-62A trying to race across to be able to catch me out. And luckily, exactly what I thought happened. Now, this is a very interesting situation. We see that he aims at me. And that's just where you've got to have your feeling in World of Tanks. I wasn't fully aimed in that position, but a T-62A has very low aim time, and when it turns its turret, it doesn't actually have that much dispersion. He stopped his tank fully, and he turned his turret to be able to try and get a snapshot off on me, and I had to take my chance. Fair enough, I wasn't fully aimed, but he's got better aim time than me. I had to take my chance to take the shot. And knowing when is your last possible chance to take the shot is also very important in World of Tanks. Fair enough, you haven't got some kind of mind control device. You know exactly when he's going to shoot you. But you've got to give yourself the most possible time you think until you have to take the shot. So now I've decided to push in aggressively along the A-line because I think the IS-4 is going to be going up after me to try and deal with me. Because he thinks that... he thinks that I'm going to be camping up there. Clearly he has sixth sense, however, because he starts to pull back down the slope, knowing that he's about to face the wrath of the artillery. Now I'm going to double bush him. He doesn't actually spot me. And because of this bush that's here, he won't see me either. We can see that I actually put a shot into him while he was stealth. But now he's looking directly at me. He's not an idiot. As soon as you get hit in World of Tanks, you know exactly where the shot came from if you use the marker that's up in this position at the top. However, by using these bushes, I'm able to spot the IS-4, making him completely useless in the open, even though he's driving straight towards my location, even though I haven't been spotted. My artillery shuts him down, and I make my move on the M53-55. I drive forwards, and he fires. That means that he's got a very long reload, and we're going to be able to take him out. And now we just basically have to worry about the GWE-100. I go forwards and backwards a little bit, wait until I'm no longer spotted, and then when I'm no longer spotted, I need to get out of that position. Because for all intents and purposes, I need to consider he's going straight at me. Now I spot the GWE-100 in the open, and he misses! That was a fantastic feeling at this point of the game, because I realized there's no way that I can lose now. And thankfully, the artillery don't manage to take him out, which enables me to secure my 6th kill of the game and pick up the Top Gun. I have to admit, I was absolutely thrilled to pick up the result in this game. Not only did we have a very low chance, at least statistically, to win, but we had to deal with some very skilled opponents at the end of the game with no health in a higher tiered vehicle, and I felt like my positioning and my maneuvering allowed us to outplay a couple of people and pick up the victory. The key moments in this game was when our team aggressively took the eastern flank, with the IS-4 and the FV-215B having no interest in coming over here and getting peppered by artillery. I tried to capitalize on that, unfortunately putting that terrible TK shot into the back of the AMX-50B, who had played super aggressively to take out the IS-7. Again, I'm sorry about that, buddy. And taking this flank enabled us to pick up a few kills on key enemy vehicles, but more importantly, take this location, which is super important on Redshire. From here, using the bushes along this ridgeline, you're able to get massive vision out deep into the enemy territory. And when they've got artillery on the enemy team, and lots of artillery on your team, who I must say, thanks a lot to all three of you guys. You played very well this round, and I certainly couldn't have done it without you on the IS-4 at the end. And effectively holding this position, even though I was the only one left with just a smidgen of health, and locking down such a large part of the map, was of paramount importance. Next, it was to keep calm and carry on, even though I knew where that 212A who put that devastating shot into me was. It would have been a complete misplay for me to go after him aggressively, because we knew that the IS-4 was skulking around this ridgeline, which is also very important to hold. We had to wait until we forced his hand to go and handle the WT Alfie 100 in the lower part of the map, and press on and kill the artillery, because I'm sure that they did want to win and not get a draw. When we knew their location, it was important there was no hesitation about advancing, killing the 212A, and then making it seem like I was going to go along the A line, to instead go and take a vantage point to kill a T-62A, and then not remain camping here for long because the IS-4 was going to come and try and dig me out, but instead then make my move along the A-line and use some spotting mechanics in the bushes over here to take out the biggest threat on the enemy team. And so all in all, an absolutely fantastic result for us. Let's just take a quick look at the post-game stats. So while the replay website doesn't show it, this was an ace tanker in the AMX-30 prototype. We also picked up the Pascucci's medal for killing 3 artillery and also a top gun. Now, while we did finish top on damage in this tier 10 game, picking up 3,369 damage, that's not that impressive for the AMX-30 prototype, but what is that we also managed to get 4,579 detecting damage. Spotting for those 3 artillery on my team who had some very good games. Well played, guys. In a battle that, funnily enough, lasted 13 minutes and 37 seconds. Why does that always seem to happen? And hopefully this video helps a few of you who are still stuck trying to formulate plans and to try and improve on your decision making. And if you enjoyed it, or maybe it was just useful to you, please do consider giving it a like down below. It really helps the channel out. And if you want to see Shepherd48 picking up, I think, 12 kills in the AMX-30 prototype, then simply click through up here and you can check out AMX-30 versus D-Day. And let me know in the comments down below, what is your favorite tier 9 medium tank and why? And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.